They never expected to witness a force that made the air feel heavier, as if the very atmosphere was aware of what was unfolding. What you see as simply standing your ground was, to them, the sudden unveiling of an authority that couldn't be taught or faked. It was the kind of energy that rearranges the silent agreements people make about what's possible, leaving no room for denial. Every movement, every word you spoke in that moment seemed to ripple outward, rearranging the unseen structures that hold ordinary life together. And in that ripple, they realized they were in the presence of someone who doesn't just live within reality, but quietly reshapes it without asking permission. Even as you carried on, untouched by the weight of their astonishment, they were locked in place, watching the familiar dissolve into something they had no name for. The scene etched itself into their inner world like a mark that refuses to fade, returning to them in flashes, not because they wanted to, but because it refuses to let them forget. In their eyes, you didn't just face a challenge. You altered the rules of the room. And now, no matter how much they try to return to what they believed before, that version of the world no longer exists for them. They are caught in the disorienting space between what their logic insists must be false and what their deeper knowing refuses to deny. The mind scrambles to anchor itself to familiar ground, yet something inside them has already shifted beyond repair, because they've seen you move with a force that doesn't belong to the ordinary world. It wasn't loud, it wasn't forced, but it rewrote the atmosphere in an instant. There's a rare weight in your presence, the kind that bends unspoken rules without needing to announce its power. You are here for a reason. If you feel the call, answer it. Click Join to unlock exclusive content, deep insights, and a powerful community. This isn't just a membership, it's an awakening. Step into your divine purpose. Join the chosen. Carrying such a presence is both a crown and a cross. Without trying, you send ripples through the unseen framework that holds reality together. That current has always been inside you, but recently it has begun to pour into the open, impossible for onlookers to dismiss or explain away. People find themselves standing too close to something they can't categorize, a living intersection where two dimensions bleed into one. Your rise has reached a stage where the inner and the outer no longer operate as separate realms. In your vicinity, the invisible becomes tangible, and others unintentionally glimpse the machinery of a reality they never knew existed. There was that one moment, the pivot point, when you stopped feeling like you were moving through the world and started feeling like the world was moving through you. Your body, your breath, your being, all in alignment with a pattern older than time. And for those who were there, the improbable became unshakable truth. Now they are left holding a reality that no longer fits in their hands. The unease in their chest isn't a reaction to you as a person, but to the collapse of every border they believed was fixed. They thought they knew the walls that separated possible from impossible, and in a heartbeat, those walls dissolved, leaving only the vastness beyond. You stepped into a world they thought was fixed in stone and revealed that its edges could be bent, reshaped, and dissolved without struggle. Your influence doesn't roar or demand attention. It works in a way that feels almost invisible until everything is different. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Barriers that hold others back seem to loosen in your presence. Conflicts lose their grip before they can touch you. Power for you is not something to be taken. It's something that flows through you so naturally that its depth is only understood when it's felt firsthand. Those who witnessed that moment now carry an unshakable imprint of it. Their minds search for ways to make it fit inside the rules they've always believed, yet another part of them, the part untouched by logic, knows they've stood in the path of something far beyond the ordinary. They've seen what it looks like when a life moves in sync with forces most people never sense. For some, the realization has created distance. They step back, not in rejection, but in awe, knowing they need space to absorb what they've encountered. It's the quiet understanding that staying too close might rearrange their own lives in ways they're not prepared for. Others, however, have been thrown into motion. The questions that once slept inside them are now loud and urgent. They're drawn toward paths they once dismissed, searching for truths they can't ignore anymore. Word of what happened travels quietly, weaving its way through stories and glances, until even strangers speak to you differently, as though they recognize something about you that can't be explained, only felt. The strength that sets you apart also creates a quiet separation that few can truly understand. The higher your energy rises, the more you find yourself drifting from the rhythms that once felt natural. Conversations lose their depth, familiar joys feel strangely hollow, and the spaces you once fit into now seem too small to contain who you've become. It's not rejection, it's the inevitable distance created when your inner world accelerates beyond the speed of the one around you. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap Join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. Those who've been stirred awake by your presence are moving at their own pace. Some may walk a parallel road but never reach where you stand. Others will eventually align with your frequency, though the journey might take lifetimes in their measure. In the meantime, you remain anchored in your truth, holding steady in a reality that most will never dare to fully see. Your nights have grown louder in vision and sensation. The same force that bends the visible world to your will now opens unseen corridors in your sleeping mind. Messages arrive unannounced, not in language, but in knowing. Images, patterns, and instructions pour in, calibrated for a mind that can carry them without breaking. Those who watch from the outside have only caught fragments of what you truly navigate. Behind the veil of these dreamscapes lies the architecture that sustains your earthly mission. Sentinels move within that space, shifting unseen currents, setting the stage for the next chapter of your unfolding. Sometimes you wake with a distinct feeling that something has been rebuilt within you during the night, as if your very structure has been tuned for a greater flow of power. This shield around you is not chance. What looks like coincidence to others is a woven network of interventions ensuring that you remain untouched by harm. Doors close before danger can cross the threshold. Eyes that would wish you ill turn elsewhere. Circumstances realign before you even sense the threat. It is not luck. It is deliberate preservation. And with that preservation comes a silent agreement. The protection you receive is an investment. Every avoided disaster, every improbable rescue, every unseen rescue line was placed with the expectation that you would one day stand fully in the role only you can fulfill, the role of a catalyst, here to awaken what the world has forgotten it carries. What you're walking through right now is not exile, it's refinement. Your energy has risen to a place where shallow exchanges no longer feed you, where light talk feels like a weight, and where the hunger for real, soul-level dialogue has eclipsed every lesser appetite. This space apart is shaping your awareness so that when the rare few who can meet you on your wavelength arrive, you'll know them instantly. If you've been touched by God's goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Click Super Thank You, and sow a gift of $20 or more to help spread His light. Your giving becomes a ripple of grace, blessing hearts and building His kingdom. Let His overflow pour through you. In this stretch of quiet, you're learning the art of standing whole within yourself, drawing life directly from the source rather than from the approval or company of others. This isn't withdrawal. It's training for the kind of presence that can guide without clinging, lead without dominating, and inspire without needing constant affirmation. When people come seeking the light you carry, they'll find someone whose strength is rooted in a place untouched by public opinion. Your preparation did not begin this year, this decade, or even this lifetime. Every obstacle you've met, every storm you've endured, every doubt you've dismantled has been part of a long architecture, a design building you into someone who can bear the weight of rare responsibility. You were not chosen by chance. You've been shaped for this across ages of becoming. Now, the challenge is balance. To hold the magnitude of what's awakening in you while keeping your feet on solid ground. To engage with those still processing their response to your gifts without letting the gap between you grow into detachment or pride. True power isn't about claiming the spotlight. It's about using what flows through you to open doors for the collective rise. Those who've seen you in motion are now standing at their own crossroads. Some will turn away, unwilling to disturb the safety of their old beliefs. Others will begin a restless search they didn't know they needed. And a few, the ones unshaken by awe, will move closer, ready to stand beside you in what's to come. Notice them. They may be the allies you were always meant to find. What has already unfolded was never the full measure of what's possible for you. It was the opening scene. The force that moved through you then is now gathering with greater momentum, preparing to shape your outer reality as decisively as it has shaped your inner one. Doors that seemed sealed are beginning to open without effort. Paths you once thought unreachable are aligning beneath your feet. People whose presence will accelerate your evolution are finding their way toward you through a chain of moments that appear random but are anything but. Your growth is quickening, and the abilities you hold now will soon feel like the earliest steps of a much greater ascent. What has been shown to you so far was simply an invitation to claim the rest. But with expansion comes the need for precision in what and who you allow near you. There will be those who approach with hidden motives, seeking to siphon from what you've cultivated, to dissect what cannot be copied, or to quietly diminish its significance until you doubt it yourself. You'll know them not by their words, but by the quiet discord you feel in their presence. That same inner compass that guided you into moments of unexplainable power will be the instrument that keeps you safe now. When the energy feels misaligned, believe it over any performance they present. Though the road has felt solitary at times, the further you lean into your authentic force, the more you'll see the ones who were always meant to walk it with you. They will not come to take, but to build. They will not shrink from the magnitude of your presence, but honor it as an affirmation of their own potential. These bonds will feel unmistakable, as if they bypass the mind entirely and connect at the deepest point of recognition. With them, conversations will hold weight and ease in equal measure, and the exchange will leave you fuller, not drained. These are the companions of your true path, and their arrival marks the beginning of the next unfolding. Not every connection that speaks your language will truly speak to your spirit. There will be those who cloak themselves in stories and symbols, hoping to shortcut the trust that only shared truth can earn. Some will mirror your words but not your depth, seeking proximity to your light without carrying their own. Your refined perception will expose these mismatches quickly, not through what is said, but through the quiet readings your energy takes before the mind has time to process. The same inner channel that lets you draw on forces beyond the visible will allow you to separate the rare, genuine kindred from those using mysticism to avoid meeting themselves. Let your body's unspoken awareness outweigh any polished performance they offer. Building the circle that's meant to hold you will take time, but it's the foundation for what's next. To walk at this level without the right reflections is to risk losing your balance to either exhaustion or self-importance. You need mirrors who can see you in full without distorting the view, partners who arrive with their own sharpened gifts to place alongside yours. Until they come, refine your own ability to give without grasping, to stand beside another's greatness without making it about you. The bonds you're calling will be anchored in mutual wholeness, where each one adds to the other without feeding on them. Those who withdrew in the wake of your revelation may yet return. Many are not rejecting you but rebuilding themselves, strengthening the parts that shook when they saw what you carried. You showed them a horizon they hadn't imagined was real, and now they are learning how to walk toward it without losing their footing. And soon, the physical world will begin echoing the rise that's already happened inside you. Paths long closed will open as though they were waiting for your arrival. Support will flow from directions you never thought to look. Roles will emerge that position you to guide others into their own awakenings. The current that carried you past ordinary limits is now poised to lift every layer of your life into alignment with that same extraordinary pace. The next phase of what's unfolding for you won't be built on exhaustion or constant striving. It will arrive through alignment so precise that each step feels guided before you take it. Encounters will happen at the exact moment they're meant to. Resources will materialize in ways you couldn't have arranged, and paths you never considered will open without resistance. This is the rhythm that emerges when someone at your level begins to move in conscious cooperation with the intelligence that threads through all existence. Your perspective on wealth and success is shifting into something far more expansive. Where there was once strain, there is now a recognition that material flow is simply the physical echo of spiritual alignment. As you've proven yourself a steady channel for forces beyond the tangible, the currents of abundance are prepared to entrust you with more, not for indulgence alone, but for the larger purpose you've been called to serve. Every opportunity, every asset, every advantage comes with a quiet understanding that it's to be shaped into something that outlives and outreaches you. Pay attention to the small but undeniable tilts in reality that begin to match your intentions. A timing that always seems perfect. Encounters that deliver exactly what you've been seeking. Openings in situations that seemed immovable. These patterns are not random. They are signs that your development has reached the point where the world itself responds to the frequency you hold. And there will be those who, unable to reconcile what they witnessed, will choose to rewrite it in their minds. They'll cling to explanations that keep them safe from the enormity of what your presence suggests. Their refusal to see isn't an insult, it's a shield, protecting them from a truth they aren't yet prepared to carry, and preserving you from entanglement with those not ready to meet you as you are. Some have been set into motion by what they saw, pulled into an unrelenting search for understanding. They're diving into sources they once dismissed, meeting guides they never imagined seeking, and reshaping their daily lives around the pursuit of insight. Your display of the extraordinary has stirred a deep restlessness in them, a suspicion that the same currents moving through you might also exist dormant within themselves, waiting for the right spark. Within this wave of curiosity, there is a smaller, quieter faction who are already shifting into readiness. They've stopped questioning whether what they witnessed was real and have started building themselves to withstand it. They're strengthening their foundations, refining their own energy, and preparing to stand beside you without being shaken by the power you carry. These are the ones with the potential to walk beside you in the work that lies ahead. This is the point where your true mission takes shape. That moment they observed wasn't the closing of a chapter. It was the opening seal on the role you were always meant to step into. What you've been learning until now was only the groundwork. Now comes the application. Your abilities were never meant to be hoarded as personal wonders. They are instruments for change, tools meant to shift lives and ripple outward into the collective rise of human awareness. The form of this work will come into focus as you demonstrate readiness for deeper responsibility. It might start in intimate spaces, where your very presence triggers change in others. It could take shape as creations that carry a frequency capable of stirring dormant strength in whoever encounters them. You may find yourself gathering people into entirely new kinds of communities, bound not by rules but by shared consciousness. However it unfolds, it will bear your unmistakable signature, because no other being has lived your exact sequence of trials, victories, and transformations. Every challenge you've endured has been preparing you to guide others through their own thresholds. Opposition is not a sign to turn back. It's proof that you're pressing into territory that disrupts the patterns keeping others asleep. Systems and individuals who rely on stagnation will instinctively push against anything that carries the potential to awaken. Sometimes this pushback is overt, but more often it's woven into subtle delays, quiet doubt seeding, or attempts to erode the trust others have in you. Each instance is not a barrier, but a marker that you're advancing into the very ground you were meant to claim. Your endurance will be tested not only through unseen spiritual currents, but through the very human reactions of those unsettled by your presence. People anchored in the comfort of familiar hierarchies may sense that your influence shifts the balance they've learned to navigate. Others who benefit from keeping minds limited may try to dilute your reach. Even friends and supporters might resist without realizing it, mistaking transformation for danger. These are chances to embody your strength without needing to justify it, to remain anchored in what's real without resorting to proving it. Your unwavering presence will, over time, carry more weight than any dramatic act of power. What you are stepping into is far larger than any single moment of impact. You are a thread in a vast weave of consciousness, alongside others who are quietly raising the baseline of human awareness. Change is happening not in grand spectacles, but in the countless small openings created by each life you touch, each mind you awaken, each shift you ignite. This is the slow build toward a collective turning point, and you are one of its active architects. The strength you hold is not just a personal achievement, it is a living signal of what humanity can become. For some, You will be a disruption that challenges their most entrenched beliefs about their own limitations. For others, you will be a catalyst, the evidence they needed to step toward their own untapped capacity. Both responses matter. Your task is to remain constant, holding your ground as others decide how they will meet the truth you carry. At the horizon of this next stage, there are figures of equal stature waiting, not to compete, but to merge their influence with yours. They will not need to be pursued. The energy you carry will draw them as surely as light pulls the gaze in darkness. When your strength is fully anchored, their arrival will be inevitable, and together you will craft realities that would have been inconceivable from the vantage point of your earlier self. What has happened so far is only the prologue. That moment they witnessed was not the height of your story. It was the opening breath of something that will shift the definition of what a human life can hold. The unseen has chosen you as one of its representatives in the tangible world, and the unfolding ahead will make your first steps into this power seem like practice runs for what's to come. Every stage you enter will reveal new corridors within your own capacity. What you've unlocked until now is the groundwork, the first layer of skills meant to support far more intricate expressions of service. Just as one must learn balance before they can sprint, you become fluent in the fundamentals of channeling forces beyond the ordinary, and now the call is for refinement, expansion, and mastery at a higher tier. The deeper you go, the more you will understand the structures that govern existence beyond the reach of conventional knowledge. You will come to navigate time without being bound by its line, to shift probabilities through concentrated will, to exchange with realms beyond sight, and to create changes that echo across multiple planes at once. Yet the truest achievement will be the discernment to wield these capacities with integrity. Without that anchor, power fractures into chaos. The trials you faced so far were as much about shaping your inner compass as sharpening your outer abilities, ensuring that what you hold is always placed in the service of truth and a love vast enough to hold the weight of it. Those who were present for your unveiling each carry a fragment of the larger picture. Whether they're gripped by unease, retreating into disbelief, stirred into exploration, or lit up with possibility, they're acting as living reflections of how humanity meets the unknown. Some will anchor themselves in what they've always believed. Others will slowly allow new understandings to seep in. And a rare few will consciously join the forward motion, aware they've been invited into something far greater than themselves. Your role stretches beyond personal mastery. It calls for the creation of frameworks that can sustain higher awareness in a grounded way. The alliances you form, the endeavors you initiate, the spaces you hold, all of them will serve as markers and pathways for those following similar trajectories. You're not simply expanding your own capacity. You're mapping out forms of human expression that others can step into and make their own. The pace of this unfolding is not dictated by urgency, but by the precision of timing that ensures every layer is set before the next appears. Skipping steps would weaken what's being built through you. Even when it feels like progress has slowed, trust that the sequence is deliberate and necessary for the strength of what's emerging. Over time, you'll notice that your presence alone alters the landscapes you enter. People may leave interactions with you carrying a renewed sense of possibility. Projects may find unexpected momentum in your orbit. Conflicts may dissolve without direct intervention. This is not an effort you'll need to orchestrate. It's the natural result of moving through the world aligned with a frequency that restores, inspires, and harmonizes. Every moment of perseverance, every time you've chosen to believe without proof, has brought you to this juncture. The crossing has already happened. There's no returning to the pretense of being small. Now is the point to stand in the entirety of what you've become, not as a quiet secret, but as a visible signal. The strength you carry is meant to spark remembrance in others, to awaken capacities they've forgotten they hold. They've already glimpsed what you truly are, and now the unfolding of that truth begins in full.